talk about today is the standards-driven paradigm shift. And the reason why I choose this mouthful of a title is that I used this expression, paradigm shift, yesterday at that meeting at the Senate that Hudson was talking about. And it was only when somebody else repeated it that I understood how my Scandinavian accent was falling short of what was required, because to me that is a paradigm shift. But today I was schooled, so now I can pronounce it well, but I thought, well, why don't I put it in the title for tomorrow's talk? So that would make for a great icebreaker that we crack up when they hear me. So that's why the reason for the title. But really the paradigm shift that I want to talk about is the one enabled by the use of standards. We are talking about XBRL. We, by now, have heard many times that it's not only about XBRL, really, or not only about the most visible use of XBRL, but it is really about leveraging the value of XBRL in the whole process of both creating and consuming those reports. So it's not only about the SEC mandate, which is, of course, very important, but it is about enabling those that have to file those filings to do it in a more efficient way. So we are really talking about internal processes like, well, reporting for internal and external purposes, but also data aggregation and consolidation, business intelligence, auditing, monitoring. So these are the key processes that cost a lot of money in every organization, even in the government. So assembling those reports and monitoring the data is really a work that implies a waste of resources. It's very manual intensive, resource intensive. It is error prone. And this is sort of the situation paradigm, I knew it, shift. So systems that do not completely fully support these processes. There are gaps. Those gaps are filled with manual intervention. They cost a lot of money. The solution is either to keep doing things manually or integrate things manually, or to replace the systems, and that costs even more. You have to buy an expensive ERP application or something, some other consolidation, reporting application or whatever. It costs money not only to buy it, but more than that, even more than that, to deploy it, to install it, and to train people to use it. This is sort of the situation right now. Rigid applications have those kind of effects. What's the paradigm shift enabled by open standards? Well, it is about separating the data model from the applications. Do not embed logic in those applications. So do not have the intelligence in the software code, but having it in the XBRL taxonomies and leveraging XBRL Global Ledger in particular to represent all or most of the internal information as appropriate. That allows to separate, to free the data from the application in which it is created and stored, and really have applications that only understand the standard. It doesn't matter what taxonomy they're processing. It doesn't matter what process they are supporting. Yesterday, I demonstrated the use of an application based on XBRL and XBRL-GL that uses Google to search enterprise data. It was developed 5 years ago for a corporate environment, and yesterday it was used without changing one line of code on government data, on SEC data, and recovery.gov data. So that is the point. This paradigm shift is not only about having data in a format that is standardized and transparent and accessible. It is also, and maybe more importantly, in enabling the use of very smart applications that have nothing to do with a specific process that they are used for in that particular moment. They can be used by different entities for different processes without changing a line of code, and therefore they are much cheaper. That is the paradigm shift that standardization enables. The reason why I'm so passionate about that, and the reason why I spend a lot of my time, which is most of the time paid and sometimes not, on this is really, I spend a lot of time working as a volunteer for the consortium, so that's, and also creating, thank you, and also creating prototypes to demonstrate the concept. And the reason is that I'm not really an IT person. I was born on the business side. I used to work years ago for a bank on the business side, and I was always stunned by the consistency of the problems that I and other in my bank and in other places faced. The common reason was the difficulty to get the data in the way it is needed, when it is needed. And that causes really a lot of the problems that we mentioned, or a lot of the waste of resources that we mentioned. So I started to get interested in the IT side, and I started to develop solutions to solve my own problems. And then I said, maybe there is something else that has the same problems. So maybe there is a market opportunity here. And to cut a long story short, I gave up my work. I started my own software company, designing customized software to meet customized client needs. And it was very successful. My clients were very happy. But I still felt that something was missing. I still felt that business requirements are very dynamic. They change. And so no given system can be flexible enough to support those systems, those requirements over time. You need something more, not only doing the same things, using the same traditional old paradigm approach, better, faster, and smarter, but find a different way to do things. And when I came across XBRL, I found that. XBRL and XBRL-GL in particular, by enabling that separation between the data model and all the intelligence, the business rule that you can put in the taxonomy, separate that from the software that executes whatever report or whatever analytics you need to execute, not by supporting those specific requirements which are in the taxonomy, but by just understanding the standard, that enables this sort of game change into technology. So it is not only about the data model, a transparent, application-independent data model. It is really about cheaper technology that becomes much more effective than the traditional solution. So applications designed with this approach in mind are flexible, can be used for a number of different purposes, and therefore are cheaper. And they do not create, they are a solution that does not require to change the information system. And I asked yesterday the question to Thomas, did you have to change your systems at the MACPA in order to implement your project? And the answer was no. So in the old world, if you want to find a solution to your problems, you have to install something new. This is not an alternative. This is something that plays with what you have, bridges the gap, and makes it work better. It eliminates that need to retype things, to use Excel, to see the installation of the new ERP application, spend a lot of money, spend a lot of time, and then see the situation going back to what it was before, one spreadsheet at a time. So this is the first thing for me, really the ability of designing technology in a different way. And the other important game changer, the other important driver for this paradigm shift is the fact that in order to support these processes that we described at the beginning, so data consolidation and aggregation, internal and external reporting, business intelligence, auditing and monitoring, you need a lot of smart code. You need basically two profiles of resources, internal resources, mappings. If you want to consolidate data from different applications, you need to map the data models. Mapping also for reporting. You need to map your trial balance to IFRS or to US GAAP or to whatever else. So mappings are a key resource. And business rules. Business rules are important for auditing, are important for data monitoring, and are important for business intelligence. So these two things are usually embedded in software. When you buy your ERP system or whatever, they are in there. Switching to a standards-based approach, you have to sort of rebuild those. If this processing capability, if this intelligence is now not in the software but in the taxonomy, in the data model, you have to build it there. And this requires a lot of time, a lot of resources, and it is indeed a barrier for companies to just consider this new approach, the post-paradigm shift approach. But wouldn't it be great if you could just crowdsource this effort? So it is a significant effort to recreate all these mappings and all these business rules for one entity. But if you can tap the power of the crowd and sort of create a collaborative effort that can do this, then things change. And guess what? XBRL enables just doing that. XBRL is a standardized way to represent business information found in any system. So all those systems have their way of expressing, for example, business rules. And that is the knowledge base of the company. What if you can express those same business rules that are different from system to system, but not from company to company? If you need to check that cash doesn't go negative, yes, the table is called different in every system, and the field is called different in every system, but the business rule in itself is the same. So a standardized model enables to create that rule in an abstract way that can then be deployed in every application, in every environment, just by mapping to the standard. So with this thought, and as I said before, we identified two main profiles of these content libraries, if you wish, that you need, mappings and business rules. We created two collaborative environments borrowing the concept of a wiki. So we have Wikipedia, which really facilitates this collaboration effort. There are two wikis, one for mappings and one for business rules that my company, iFix, makes available to the community for free, called Wiki Accounts and Wikilogics. Experts from all around the world can come together, contribute their mappings there, and Bill has had a taste of that, contribute their mappings there. The application is made available for free to encourage this, and anybody can download those mappings and those business rules and use them in their own environment. And we have Wiki Accounts, the mapping side, has been around for a while now. We already have a number of mappings to US GAAP, to IFRS, and other taxonomies. And it was created, one of those mappings was created in Australia for not-for-profit companies and is now used in Kenya for an IT communication company. So you really see wonderful things happening, as we always say, when people come together and agree on a standard. Really, it is amazing the things that can happen. So those are two examples of how the power of standard can destroy the barriers to entry. We say that recreating all these resources, all these standardized business rules, all these mappings is a big effort for one company. But if you can just go to a website and download whatever you need for free, then it is easier to consider this paradigm shift. So it is a difficult approach. I talk a lot with businesses trying to make the point, and you go there and you say, okay, the technology is cheap. Yes, you need to create some resources, some content, but here is a place where you may find most of it for free. Why don't you give it a try? As opposed to give me $200 million and I will give you a perfect system that solves all your problem. So people sort of look at you weird. But you can see that it is coming, that the fact that we do have XBRL implementations around is making a difference, and that people start to listen to that. So while sometimes I'm tempted to say, okay, fine, I will give me $200 million, I will design the system for you. I don't, and because I'm really looking forward to see it happen. I know it's coming, and I really want to facilitate that. How we get there? How do we get from the old situation to the paradigm shift? Well, first of all, you have to win the resistance. As I just said, there is a lot of resistance to the new, and they always ask for who has done it and what are the best practices. And actually, I saw one of the MACPA talks in which a gentleman, whose name I unfortunately don't remember, was saying, okay, look for best practices. Somebody has already done it, right? So they started 18 months ago, okay, and they have the best practice. So now you look at them, what they've done, it worked, you do it in your practice, it's gonna take others 18 months. And in this age, this is so 4 seconds ago, like we say sometimes. I mean, 18 months is forever, is 10 lives. So really is about winning that resistance to the new and really try to leverage what is available. So that's the first step. The second step is, and this is also in part the responsibility of the XBRL community, broaden the focus of what we do. So there is a lot of focus on the most visible implementation of XBRL, the SEC mandate and other things, SBR and other initiatives. You do need to get back that original vision that this is about integrating the business reporting supply chain, that this is about data producers as much as data consumers. So companies are part of this. So you really need to bring back the focus to that vision. And then for companies that want to consider that, we have this thing called 3 easy steps. It's really about prototyping. What MACPA did here is really the right way to go. Identify a pain point that is meaningful enough to make a difference, but not so broad that it will take 10 years to build something on. So identify that pain point, define success. What is success? When do you win? And then execute and iterate. Do it over and over again. And at each step, you learn more about the technology, and things will start to make sense, and you will see more opportunities to use the same approach. And guess what? You will already have all the technology and the experience that you need. So that's basically the paradigm shift. And I even learned to pronounce a new English word. So that's great. All right. Thank you.